Hello, and welcome to another review of Interview with the Vampire. Today, I'm talking about episodes 3 and 4. Oh my God. Oh my God. There's going to be spoilers. That's all I gotta say. So, episode 3, I have to say that this is Louis, he, in the beginning, he didn't accept like his vampirism and especially the killing part. Like he's just like not with it. And you have Lestat who's like, yo, like this is what you are. But you can go around and pretend you're a vegetarian. So this whole episode was literally about him wondering who he is, who he is as a person now. And the mix of the war happening, the drama between him and Lestat, because like Lestat, he said he's non-discriminating. So we know Lestat is bisexual, so he has relations with women, and you have Louis who is eating not that much. Like he's eating off of rats and cats and stuff. He's not eating human blood. So it's not giving him. He said that his libido was down. So they came up with this agreement that, cuz Louis I should be enough for you, Lestat. Like what's going on? And Lestat is just I like other things. I love you, but we could. And it was funny because it was not convincing. It was not convincing at all because he was like, yeah, of course, you could go and see other people as long as you come to me, come back to me. And the acting is so good because I was like, dude, who are you trying to fool? You are not, you know you're gonna be jealous. And Lestat proved us as the viewer correct. He was jealous. And this comes when a friend of Louis comes by the Exalia, the bar. And they have a moment in the park, and Lestat sees this and just has a fit. So that drama happened, and then in a mix of all of this, Louis is about to lose his his business because the war has broken down. They have all these Jim Crow is coming down. So they have all these laws whites only, colored only, and they're discriminating against the colored businesses. So they're making them shut down. They're treating him very badly, and he catches on to this. And it was funny. I love that he stood his ground. He was like, I am not selling you my business. I am not shutting down. I'm gonna make this colored only. And I was like, yes, do it. It's gonna be trouble, but do it. And then in the going back to him finding and wondering who he is, accepting his vampirism, he with his diet, he made a boo-boo. He killed someone. He killed the alderman and displayed his body in front of I didn't catch what it was, but it was on top of a gate, and it was a whites only sign, and his guts was all out. And this causes some craziness to happen through the quarter. Buildings are burning, everything's torched. And he's just sitting there to watch. And it's a revelation to him that he didn't mean this to happen. He lost himself, just like Lestat loses himself. But I love how they I love how they flipped the coin because like Lestat, he could lose himself, no repercussions, right? But when you have Louis loses himself, the whole shit goes crazy. And it's because he is a person of color. So, you know, they don't know he did that to the alderman. They just know that like a black person did it. So they're just, you know, acting up and burning things down. So this episode had a lot of stuff to unpack in it. And I love how they did it. And this is the best intro to a character I've ever seen. Like in you know how I thought they were going to bring Claudia in was similar to, you know, how it was in the movie. You know, Louis just like wandering around. I was like, okay, he hasn't ate anybody. Like he's just starving. He doesn't have all this energy. He's going to slip, right? No, that is not what happens. So how they introduce Claudia is during the riots. So like everything's burning down. He hears a cry for help. And goes to this, I think he called it a rooming house, and rescues her. And it cuts to like the credits. And I was like, no, I need to know. I was like, oh my God. Like and like the words in the show, like how they speak the poetry. Like he was like, my redemption. Like this is how he's going to redeem himself from all this mess that he, you know, he caused all of this. And him saving her is like how he's going to redeem himself, how he's going to make it right. And I was just like, oh my God. So then here comes episode 4. And I gotta say, before we get into the details about Claudia, does anybody think Rashid is weird? Like I think something's not right with Rashid. I'm calling it now. I think this dude is weird. Okay, I think something's up with him, and I think the reporter knows it too. He had like little notes about like him, because like this dude is not answering his questions. He's always wearing gloves. He's barely like in the sun. So like I'm thinking, like his eyes don't give me vampire. You know, like he doesn't have the vampire eyes. His eyes are like black. So I don't think he is a vampire, but something's not right with this dude. Okay. We could ponder that later. So Rashid tells him that, you know, you have these books, that you can read. They're diaries. And he's like, you know, start from the left, cause they're like in order. And I was like, oh my God. Because in the book, she does like, you know, she does have a diary. She does write things, you know. And then in the movie too, she was, I think she was writing or drawing something. So like Claudia's known to like document stuff. I mean, she's a girl, you know. Girls have diaries. I had a diary, Anne Frank diary, not Anne Frank. I had a Lisa Frank diary. Daniel does refer to her as Anne Frank, and Stephen King. So that was like, hey. But while he's reading these journals, he opens the last one, and we see the date is 1945. And we know Claudia's not in the present. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm sorry, but it's been out since 1994. And you know, she does die in the movie. She's gonna die here. We don't know how. We don't know how they're gonna do it. We don't know when, but it does happen. So the diaries stop at 1945 during World War II. I'm not good. World War II, I think it is. Don't kill me, please. No hate. Okay, no hate. It's been a while since I did history. I think it's World War II. Oh God. But yeah, 1945, and yeah, that's World War II. And you kind of like, I had to pause, like read a bit of it. And there was one he did read about POW, so like we know that's involved. So that's gonna come around during the story. But he eventually picks up the one that she started, and she's like, it's basically the episode through her eyes, and I love how they did it. I really do. She calls them angels. She's like, the black angel picked me up, and he was strong, and he took me to this nice house, and the white angel bit me. And I was like, oh my God. And I love how they twist it, because in the book and in the movie, Lestat is the one that turns Claudia, because like Louis didn't want him to, but he does it anyway because he doesn't want Louis to stay, basically. Louis to leave. He wants Louis to stay, basically. So, in the movie, this is where I was like, I think, this is how it's going to go. Like, he's going to be wandering around, he's going to be hungry, and he's just going to find her. In the movie, he does. In the book, he does. It's during the plague, he's starving. He sees this girl. He bites her. He thinks he's killed her, and he goes off. Lestat follows him, and Lestat's like, no, like, you didn't kill her, but like, I could turn her for you if you want her. Because again, Louis, he doesn't have a family. In the book, he lost his family. Here in the TV show, he's losing his family. His family is afraid of him, and Lestat is like, nah, like, I don't want to do this, but he's like, you can do this, like, just do it for me. And I love how they like locked eyes, and like they're just like talking to each other silently, eye to eye, and he goes and he turns her, and I like, they aged Claudia up here to be 14. In the book, she's 5. In the movie, she's 11. Here, she's 14. And they take her out for her first, like, kill. And she goes just, like, she kills a cop. And they're like, no. And I love how, like, they show, like, it was giving me Two Vampires and a Baby vibe. Like, you have these two vampires. You have this young vampire. They have to, like, train her to, obey the rules and like teach her the ways of being a vampire. But she is, she's a kid. She's doing kid things. She's acting out. And she has to eat 2 people per day cause she has the metabolism of a teenager. Like Lestat says that her permanent like metabolism is of a teenager. Like, teenagers, y'all remember, if you're a teenager, if you were a teenager, like, you ate a lot, like, you just whatever, you ate a lot. So she has a lot to eat, basically. And she's kind of like, so like in the book, she was a very vicious killer. Like this 5-year-old was knocking down by this. Okay. In episode 4, she does, she kills the cop. Lestat takes her to Lover's Lane, and she kills someone there. Like, she has no problems killing people. She said she even jumped this is a flapper. She jumped a lady in the alley for her clothes. So like, she has no problem with killing. Unlike Louis, who's like, I don't want to do it. So she's kind of like leaning towards like the Lestat way. And I love how like she's a young girl. And she's learning things. She's learning about Lestat and Louis' relationship. She has questions about, being a vampire. She has questions about, what's it like to, love a man. And she asks Louis this, where they're like fishing. And I love how he explained it's just love, like, it's just love. And he did also say that, because she was like this, because he did say that, sometimes Lestat likes ladies too. But that, he's mostly away, killing people extravagantly. Like, and, Louis doesn't like to see that. So I love like that conversation. And then you have Lestat teaching her about the birds and the bees at Lover's Lane. It's like you have different types of parenting here. You have the very like sensitive dad, and then a very like stern dad. Like that's the stern dad. And he shows that when she begins to develop feelings for this guy, and she accidentally kills him during a makeout session. Like I guess she was giving him hickey, and then she just ate him, so he dies. And Lestat is like, he forces her to watch her boyfriend burn, and he like tells her like, this is why we don't mingle with mortals. So he's like the stern dad. One part I did like about this episode was, so we know that Louis' family is aging. You know, they're mortal, so they're aging, and Louis has been MIA. Like, he's been gone for months, he's been gone for years. Like, he's missed birthdays and just family functions where he used to be at. And he gets a call, and his mom has passed. And he goes to the wake, and he brings Lestat and Claudia. And I'm like, you brought them to the wake? That's a lot of questions. Like, they already don't like him. And then you bring, like, this young lady. They're going to be, who the hell is this? And they ask, like, who are you? And she's like, I'm here with my daddy and my uncle. And then he's like, you know, this is your aunt, and this is your uncle. And then they're just like, you have a kid? Like, you're like, and again, this goes to the homophobia. They're like, you're not equipped to adopt a kid. And he puts Grace in her place. Like, he's like, yo, remember what I did to that door? Okay, I think he said measure yourself. I was like, oh my God, like, y'all used to be so close, but now you just like. But again, like, I don't feel bad because they did that to him first. Like, it started with his brother being like, who this Lestat dude? And then, you know, like, some people have lives, you know. I have family members that I only see once a year or like once every 5 years. People have lives, you know. So I felt like they were kind of like, they were a little bit selfish, but then, you know, I'm not going to give Louis off the hook there. Like, he could have been more, because his goal was to keep up appearances and to be in their lives, while Lestat's like, no, like, we need to like sever that tie. And I think now that his mom has passed, his sister's like, give us the house. Like, you don't need it. I think she called Lestat his white daddy. Like, y'all don't need the money. I think this is the time where, like, they're just gonna like sever ties. We probably won't see his family again. I think it's probably gonna be more Louis, Lestat, and Claudia episodes, and just like not with his family. It'll be interesting if they do include the, like, if like, because he's not aging. He's pushing 40 and he still looks the same. So, like, and you can see how, like, so they aged up his sister. I think she's 30. Because, yeah, her husband said that he missed her 30th. Because he said that he can't go to the funeral. Because the funeral is going to be in daylight. He's like, I can't go. So, like, they did age her up a bit. And he looks the same. Like, there has to be questions. And now that they have Claudia, like, she's 14, but she's pushing 19. Like, they're probably going to have to leave. And I would assume it'd be episode 5, because at the end of episode 4, going back to Lestat having Claudia burn her dead boyfriend, she snaps. Like, she burns herself. And I'm just like, she burns herself with sunlight. So they have like the sunroof. And it's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen. Like, you know, she dies by sunlight in the book and in the TV show. So like, I don't know how they're gonna do it here, but she, you know, is foreshadowing what's to come. And it's also like she's self-harming herself. And when we go back to present day, Louis is like, you know, he speaks of her in past tense, and he says like he had a daughter, and she was everything. And then like at that moment when she killed Charlie is when she changed, and she was not the bubbly Claudia that we were introduced to, that we got to know. Like, she turned, he said, into something else. So that's why I'm like, episode 5, I need to know. Because the preview, it showed like she was dropping bodies. Like, she was just like being sloppy with the kills and just like killing everybody. And in the movie / book, she gets to she begins to resent Lestat for turning her because she's stuck in the body of a child. And she like had a corpse, like in the movie she had a corpse in her bed and like all that stuff. That was a great scene. I hope they recapture that scene. Like, oh, when she calls him the father of lies. I hope. I cannot wait for the dialogue from all of that. I cannot wait. So yeah, that's my review / recap. I think I covered everything that I enjoyed, and gave y'all a little recap of what happened. So yeah, I cannot wait for episode 5. I need to watch it now. I need to know what is going on. Okay. Like, I don't foresee that, like, I think we're gonna have more episodes with Claudia. I don't think she's gonna, like, you know, die at the end of the season. I really think that this season is going to end, and there's 7 episodes, so we're getting there. We're getting there. That this season is going to end with her and Louis leaving Lestat, like, just quote unquote killing him and bouncing to Paris. And then season 2 is gonna pick up with like them in Paris. They meet Armand. They meet the Theater of Vampires. And I wonder how they're going to do it, because the second book is basically, and speaking of diary, so the second book is basically Lestat's diary. Lestat is writing it, is told by him, and it shows his interpretation of the events that Louis is telling Daniel. It's like from his eyes. So I wonder if that's going to be season 2. Like, we're going to get Lestat telling his version of the story. Maybe Louis found his diary or something. Like, I don't know. Anyways, I'm excited. I love this show. It's really good. I just can't wait to binge it all. But until then, I'm going to be waiting for episode 5 to come back. To come. Oh, I can't wait. All right, if you like my recap and reviews, please, and my reactions and my live streams, everything, please leave a like and a subscription, sub to my channel. Leave a comment down below if you like. I want to hear your thoughts. Like, did you like the episode? Do you know any forums? Because I need someone to talk to. I need people to talk to. I do. But until then, have a nice time. And yeah, if you haven't watched it, I hope my review and recap got you to watch it, okay? And I'll see you next time. Bye.